Hey guys, Nick here. Thanks for coming by. First of all, I am so glad that you guys enjoyed Carrie's video that she did. She'll be doing a lot more coming up pretty soon, but it really warmed her heart, all the nice comments that you guys made. So thank you for all of that and for welcoming her into the space. Now, some of these videos may be a little bit out of order. I'm kind of recording a bunch of them because I'm going to be having oral surgery here within the next week or so. So I might be swollen up and not able to do them, but I might record one anyway, just really, really swollen, and I might have Carrie translate for me. Who knows? So, first of all, thank you guys so much. Subscribers continue to jump up. Guys, remember to like and subscribe to these videos if you're finding them helpful or if you're enjoying them, and keep spreading the word. There's a lot of people out there that just don't want to talk about cirrhosis and liver disease. There's a certain stigma, I feel like, that goes with it. So here to help, and so are the people in my Facebook group as well. So onto the topic. This is a little bit personal, but I feel like it's something that needs to be kind of shared. And I feel like a lot of people kind of feel this when they start going into any type of recovery. And this is a topic about God, cults, and sobriety. When I first came into AA, as you guys know, and I've said in previous videos, I was very much raised in the church. I was very, very much raised in a very spiritual and God-centered environment in the Judeo-Christian type faith, Protestant most specifically. And I really had trouble with that faith. And once I had kind of grown up and moved out, I kind of not necessarily started developing my own faith, but I kind of left that faith behind. It just didn't it didn't make sense to me. Despite what I had been taught growing up, there's education and then there's indoctrination, and there's also a pressure, kind of a pressure, in the group, to make sure that you keep that faith, And now I'm not saying anything negative about any faith at all. As you guys know, this is just talking about me specifically. So when I first came into the rooms of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, when I first tried getting sober in my mid-20s, the first thing that I noticed was that the word God is everywhere. In the 12 steps, the word God is mentioned 4 times. In the 12 traditions, God's mentioned once. You have the serenity prayer where it's God grant me the serenity. So that was a really big turnoff to me initially. And one of the things that they always say in AA is that they emphasize it's a God of your understanding. And that was really hard for me to wrap my head around, because red flags started, just going up for me. Just started shooting up. I was like, this is a cult, because they're saying that, it's a God of your understanding. It doesn't matter what God it is. But, the book Alcoholics Anonymous was written in 1939 and right around that time period. So the language in it sounds like it's from the late 30s and the 1940s. So it felt very much like a bait and switch, for me. Get them in, get them, with these 12 steps, get them doing stuff. Then we're gonna preach God to them. Then we're gonna get them converted. And I was just not receptive to that, and that made it really, really difficult for me to really go through the steps in AA, because I had my guard up, a lot, because I didn't want to hear any of that God shit. And especially in my later years of trying to get sober, I had a deep-seated anger with God. My parents were people of very, very strong faith, and they were taken very early, at a very young age, from my perspective. And I just felt like it was a waste of time. And there were, logical things that that were written in the Bible, and other spiritual books that, I just couldn't believe in because they weren't possible. And, it's explained away in a lot of ways by you have to have faith, we're not expected to understand, there's a higher, meaning that we can't wrap our minds around or put logic to. You just have to have faith, and that goes to a point. But there's just so many contradictions that for me personally, I couldn't believe in that. So the problem was that it was really preventing me from being able to get sober. And because, I had this mental block, I couldn't get past like step 4, or step 3, of the 12 steps, that's is a huge, huge one, if you don't have some kind of belief in some kind of higher power. And so what I ended up doing, just over time and just over soul searching and me just really getting sick, uh, made me kind of think about, what do I believe in? And I do have a higher power that doesn't have a name. He doesn't fit into a religion. It's almost like Star Wars, kind of joke, it's the force, there is something, that's driving, everything. I can't make a tree, I can't, make the sun, something's in control of that. But I didn't feel that it fit in a specific religious bubble. And it took me a while to figure out that that's okay. That's what I needed. That became my higher power. And that made it easier for me to be able to go through the steps because I had something that I could relate to. Now, in AA, I thought it was a cult. I was just waiting, for me to get in for a little while, and then they were going to give me a weird, like, haircut and, give me uniform clothes, that everyone was going to wear, and we were going to sacrifice, small woodland creatures, once a month or whatever. I didn't know, but the longer I had gotten into the program, it introduced me to people of all faiths, all religions, agnostics. It introduced me to people from different countries, people from around the world that all shared the common problem with alcohol. And in being able to do that, it allowed me to be more open and honest, to actually go through the 12 steps. And that's what made it possible, and it's difficult because whenever I hear the term God, I immediately go to the Judeo-Christian God that I was raised with. Jesus dying on the cross, the Holy Trinity, and all that. But that's not what ended up bringing me to my spiritual peace and to my higher power. And and that's what the message I'm trying to get across is that AA is very, very much non-judgmental, and it's not a cult. Come and go, as you please. And the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. It doesn't say you can't have a relapse. It doesn't say you're not welcome after you relapse so a certain amount of times. It doesn't say, that you really have to do anything, except not drink. The steps in the program are merely suggestions. That's what it says in some of our the more important readings in AA was, these are steps to progress. We search for spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. And that's really all I wanted to talk about. I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest, because there is a certain thing, about the group, that helps keep me sober. There are days when I just don't want to go to a meeting where I want to sit there for an hour, and go through all this. There are times that I just don't want to, but, I worry about not what people are going to think about me. I worry about letting them down in the sense that if I'm not around, for a few days or a week, people start to worry. And I don't want to make people worry about me, especially if I'm doing okay, especially if it's me just being lazy, and not wanting to go to a meeting or make a phone call, to somebody. Because the group helps keep you sober. I mean, we're there for each other. I mean, I've called people at the wee hours of the morning. People have called me, and that's really what, AA is about, and sobriety is about. And when we say God, it's finding your higher power that's specific to you, not anybody else's. So guys, thanks so much for listening. Like I said, I hope you guys have a great day. It's beautiful outside here. I always appreciate you guys coming by. The link to my group is down in the description box, as well as my Twitter handle at Fortress Farms 82. So thanks, guys. See y'all later.